Good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. Let me know if the audio is okay. The audio bars are kind of glitching out on Streamlabs. And I just want to make sure that that's not coming through to your side. Audio bars are like skippy almost. Sounds okay? Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's a typical Streamlabs, I suppose. Anyways, now that I've figured that that is not an issue, we can move forward with the stream and go over here, find a bed so we can sleep real quick. Yeah, Streamlabs, it seems like every time you start streaming or whatever, like you can't leave it up on the computer. You have to like close it and restart it because it's just really glitchy. Don't know why. All right, so in today's stream you guys are going to be seeing some spoilers that will not be on this episode, but it's going to be on the next episode. There's going to be a video releasing today, finally, on the project Bedrock, and you guys will be able to see that. It is going to be a long video. I think the video length come out to about 46 minutes. So make sure that you cut out some time out of your day to watch that, or at least watch it in, you know, a couple different time frames. You don't have to watch it all at once, but should be a pretty good video. It's going to focus on the piglin bartering farm that we got done, and if you are a regular here on stream, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. Welcome in, Grumpy. Welcome in, Numberjet. Welcome in, Jason. Good to see you guys. Welcome in, Iron. Grumpy says, last time for me I was echoing. It ended up just restarting Streamlabs and things were fine. Yeah, I don't know why it does. Like, there's so many bugs with Streamlabs, it's not even funny. But yeah, this video is going to be covering the bartering farm, which is on the other side of the nether, where all of the gold comes down from our gold farm and goes into the portal to feed it, and gives us a ton of materials. Now, if you were here last stream, you might recognize some of that there, but I've been really chipping away off camera with that. And then also this over here. So this is primarily made to give me black ink, which is just your regular run-of-the-mill squid farm. But the squid farm also includes well, it can include fish if you're down low enough on the platform. That's where this little AFK area comes in. But if you want this to actually load and give you all of the squid and the drown and everything else without them spawning outside, then you need to AFK up here. But this gives you a ton of just ocean stuff. Black ink. I've thrown most of the heads out of here because the heads just take up an astronomical amount of space. As you can see, there's some down there still despawning. Ignore the dolphin heads. That's yeah, I don't know how those got there. But yeah, I got a lot of copper from all the drowns being killed. Got a bunch of nautilus shells. A ton of tridents. I've already emptied, I think, 2 or 3 shulker boxes full of tridents that are going to be for sale inside of the shopping district. Welcome in, Elian. Good to see you. So we're going to have a ton of tridents and more tridents than we know what to do with. So I'll be able to put these for sale inside the shopping district. And I'm also going to be selling, I think maybe some of the sea stuff. I don't know. We'll see. The first shop that I want to do, though, is going to be kind of like, I was thinking of doing like maybe like a greenhouse vibe for a shop, and then selling things like mud and clay and stuff like that inside of there, which could be really cool. But the purpose of this building here is to harvest all of that. And the main center point of this building is going to be the blast chamber. Now, the reason why I wanted to make the blast chamber is so I can get concrete for building all of this area out, because I'm going to need an astronomical amount of concrete, and I'm going to be buying some from Dark because she's selling it too, but I don't want to buy her out to where nobody else can buy concrete. So I want to be pretty self-sustaining with the city because I'm going to be using a astronomical amount. So nestled over here in the corner, we have my really simple mud farm slash clay farm, and this also has the capability of doing concrete. So I figured that I would build this, and then I'd get kind of a 3-in-1. And then it does look a little on the crazy side, but I can essentially leave this unlocked, and that will allow the mud to go up instead of over, which will send it into the drying rack, which will then turn the mud into clay. And then if I want it to just be mud, then I can lock this piston, which will cause it all to back up, and then it can't push any more there, so then it'll push it across and then go down here. The returning stuff coming down from the drying rack essentially just comes down here. So let's see. Yeah, it's going to come down here and then route around, and then it's going to be pushed down here into the blast chamber. Well, not so much the blast chamber yet, but it's going to be pushed down to be sent into 4 different directions. And then once it's sent into 4 different directions here, it'll be pushed down and then make its way into the blast chamber once it's stacked. So this is how I'm going to be harvesting all of the concrete, the clay, and the mud. It's all very, very efficient, and I'll probably in the future be using this to harvest wood as well. And it does not take a lot of TNT at all now that we have a 100% drop rate. And this will basically detect whenever this starts to back up. Once it backs up and there is a block there for an extended period of time, then it's going to trigger the TNT to drop down and blow up. And the only way that that happens is whenever the blast chamber down here gets full. So whenever that's totally full, it'll sense the system backing up, and then it's going to drop it down, blowing all that up, and then everything just goes down to be picked up inside of the system down below, which right now is just a bunch of chests. Not really anything too special here, but all of this is going to go down into a sorting system to where all of the stuff's going to be sorted out and be nice and neat. But as you can see, we have a ton of cactus in here because I nestled that little cactus farm in there. Not really the most efficient, and it's not very big, but it does get the job done. I'm not really going to need a ton of green dye. And then we have all of the clay balls, which is how all of this is going to come out in raw form after being blown up. Then I'll just use an auto crafter to craft it into clay blocks. We have some of this stuff I just threw down here because I didn't want it in my inventory. So the top snow and the iron bars, that type of stuff obviously is not produced by the farm. All of these flowers come from the flower farm upstairs. I'll cover that here shortly. And just some other sporadic materials that I just emptied out of my inventory. Yeah, let's see. Grumpy, you monster. I'm assuming that's from the dolphins. Look, man, it's not my fault. I never wanted to kill the dolphins. They're just kind of they're a side effect of the farm, okay? Don't know who you are or what you're spamming inside of the chat, but yes, we're not going to be spamming stuff here, so we can get rid of that. A likely story, yes. So everything's going to drop down here through what I'm going to be calling the lobby, and then I'm going to be making a kind of a circular sorting system, and it'll just loop there. Because it's kind of a sealed circuit and there's not going to be anything that's going into the system that's not already in the actual building, I could just loop it around. That way can deal with the bulk. Up at the very top, you might have seen it. This is one of my old flower farm designs, one that I have deemed the manliest flower farm on Bedrock Edition, which kind of earned a silly name. But for a flower farm, it's like, yes, you want it very powerful. Insert the Tim Allen emoji, and how he does the laugh with Home Improvement. That's what I was trying to think of. Home Improvement. Yeah, but for a flower farm, it's a very, very powerful flower farm. This thing puts out about 110,000 flowers per hour, and it's quite crazy. Now, this typically would have an unloader over here, but because I have it going down a drop chute, this goes directly down into the blast chamber, then gets funneled down to those chests, as you were able to see. And I've been making a couple modifications to this as well. Basically has a crafter on it now, and with that crafter, we can basically turn a bunch of bone meal blocks into bone meal very quickly. And then this system's basically just to keep it from backing up, because if you have a full chest, then that crafter is just going to blow the bone meal all over the place after it's full. So this basically keeps that from happening. And yeah, makes a lot more flowers than we'll ever need. Now, it doesn't really look like that much because of the items that cluster together for efficiency. But yes, there is a ton of flowers. So we can wait until it flushes. Kind of trippy looking, actually. Hurts my eyeballs. And then they all just flush right down there. And probably just turn this off so we're not making too much lag. And let's go ahead and flush all those out of there. And of course it's going to rain. A couple more farms that I have tried to nestle into here. I know it looks absolutely crazy right now because it's all kind of clustered together, but all of these are going to be kind of separate dedicated floors, with most of this hidden. There's going to be kind of a floor going over here and then probably staring down. Here we got a cocoa bean farm, really simple, and it's like, you know, most cocoa bean farms, not really anything to write home about. But to harvest it, you can just hit a button and all the cocoa beans are going to fall. Now, there's going to be a wall here, so everything will be funneled into here. And then on this side, there's already a pre-existing wall, so everything finds its way into here. And then we have my mini crop farm here. If you guys are interested in tutorials for any of these, I have most of these on my channel. So like if I wanted to do, say glowberries or something, I could come in here and just do a ton of glowberries. If I wanted to do, the main thing that I built this for is wheat. That way I can make packed mud. So if I wanted to do wheat, I could just come in here. Oh, well, you don't plant wheat, you plant seeds. Hold on. Brain buffering. Okay. So you come in here and then you can plant some wheat. And this is a really, really cool farm. Again, all of these are going to be on the channel if you guys are interested in any of these. And it'll do things like sweet berries, potatoes, and a few other plants as well. You can do carrots, which is really nice for golden carrots. And just a really nice overall compact farm. And very simple and easy to make. Definitely worth it. Yeah, I guess I can leave the bone meal in there. Up here, bone meal is going to be routed from the top of the building. I'll probably have a moss farm at the very top of this, and then that's basically going to trickle bone meal down a series of hoppers to feed that flower farm, to feed these with bone meal. That way everything's stocked up, and it really makes it easy having a kind of a vertical footprint, because you can just kind of route things down and it all works together very nicely. If we go down here, we have the cactus farm that I was talking about, if I don't die. Now, something that's really cool, if I can actually get over there. Again, all of this is going to be floors. So it'll be a lot more organized than what it is now. But you might be wondering how I have solid blocks next to cactuses without them breaking. And that's from snow layers. And I'm not quite sure if it's a bug or if it's intended behavior, but if you stack up snow layers enough to make a full block, you can actually stack them next to cactuses without breaking the cactus. And that makes it ideal for keeping the cactus in the farm without having to worry about it going off to the side and going into a hole, which is really handy. It's a feature. Yeah. Now, obviously, here you can see that I do need to build this up a little bit more. I've ran out of glass, but this will be built up a little bit higher. And, well, yeah, that'd probably be the best way to do it instead of putting a roof on it. Okay, so let's see if I can't get out of here. And the cactus basically just falls down there and routes into the blast chamber collection hopper at the bottom as well. And since we're not using the blast chamber, I mean, you might have a piece of cactus dropping while we're about to drop TNT, and you might lose a piece of cactus. But I mean, it's not enough to matter. It really isn't enough to matter. Alrighty. I think that gets us caught up on this. Like I said, I'm going to have potentially a moss farm at the top. And I've kind of been dealing with the idea of potentially putting a mob farm at the top of it. I just don't want it to be unproportionate next to this one here. And especially once we come in here and start building our skyscrapers to make them look pretty nice. This one, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be doing the one of the main hotels on Grand Theft Auto. A really popular building, a really cool looking building, and I think that there's a lot of detail that I can add into it. And this one, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing, and I'm not quite sure if I want to make this taller or not. And I could always make this wider if I need to as well. This is essentially a one chunk build. And, well, the stone goes to the outside of it. So the black floor here is actually 16 by 16. It's all chunk aligned. So the reason for that is obviously because I was putting farms inside of it. I figured that it'd be ideal to have it chunk aligned. But I mean, I could potentially make it as wide as this one. But this one is a little oblong. So I'll have to look at that building and look at the dimensions and see what it really calls for, because some of those skyscrapers are not just totally symmetrical from Z to X. Some of them are wider than they are on one direction than the other. So let's jump out. Well, actually, before we jump out of spectator mode, let's head over here, because this is what I've wanted to do today. Potentially finishing that path over there, because that needs to be done. But I want to start making a path from this area all the way down and around into the shopping district. Now we have a little bit of plains area that goes around. I think it's plains. But make this area, then I'm gonna have to check with Renee and see what her plans are, because I don't want to interrupt anything that she has going on. And I don't know how much of this mountain she's using too. I mean, I could potentially, you know, that might not be a bad idea. If I more or less bored a tunnel through here, that way I could bypass what Renee has going on and then make a path all the way over here somehow. This is some janky terrain, I tell you. No, we don't want to go that way. That's the meadow. We already have a path there. We want to go... Okay, so maybe it wouldn't bypass. So, okay. Because the thing is, I don't want to mess with what she has going on over here. So I could actually go this way. So I could totally avoid her base altogether. Make a bridge go across this ravine, which could be a nice challenge, making a diagonal bridge. And then heading this way. And probably coming down here and terminating into the spawn pathway here, which could be really cool. Kind of more of a long-term project, but I'm kind of looking for projects that I can do outside of video production, because not everything's worthy of going into a video. You know, if you put out, you know, video after video of constantly doing the same thing with a path, then, you know, viewers are going to lose interest. I think that, you know, including a lot of that into the video is important, but taking out the redundant parts are mainly the important bits. Okay, so away from the mountain. That's kind of a bummer though, because that would have been cool to kind of go through the mountain. But I do want to keep in mind what the future of my base holds as well, because I do want to eventually put in a ski resort on this mountain, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to accomplish that in Minecraft, because it's going to be hard to have like a smooth slope down with blocks unless I use like snow layer. But if I use snow layer, then that's going to be that's going to make for a really long kind of hillside for skiers to go down. Welcome in, Gigi. Speaking of Gigi, one thing that I wanted to do was make sure that this path comes more towards Gigi's side, rather than rather than that side over there. One, because there's already a path over there, and two, because if Gigi wanted to connect into this pathway, all she would really have to do is run her own path over to it, and then it'd be good to go that direction. That way we can have a nice path going to the shopping district. That way we don't have to use that path to go to the meadow and then to the shopping district. It's more of a direct route, if you will. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as brainstorming. So I think that's what we're going to be working on today. The bartering farm is pretty much functional. It's not done because I still have to decorate and stuff like that. But as far as right now, I'm happy to kind of jump off of that project and start working on another one. And I know I said that I was going to keep under 5 projects going at one time. I don't even know how many projects I have. I have kind of so I could see those being 3. That would be a project, that would be a project, and then the city itself would be a project. But I don't know if I really want to deem the city a project, because that's going to be one that can't be completed. At least not until end of season. Welcome in, Dark. Welcome in, Gigi. I'm pretty sure Jason was already here. I think I told Ellen welcome in. Welcome in to everybody. Welcome into the stream. I hope that you guys are doing well today. I am doing better than I have been the past day. So I was pretty much totally out yesterday. I did a little bit of Minecraft playing, but I woke up yesterday morning and I guess I slept wrong, and my neck totally locked up. I could not move it. In the very beginning I could move it around, but it was kind of painful. And the drive to take the kids up to summer camp, something happened to where it totally locked up. I could not move my head up, down, or left or right, and extremely painful. And I've had that happen before. You know, sometimes you just sleep wrong. I guess it's just part of getting older. And you know, you feel like you were inside of a boxing match or something and half crippled, when whenever realistically you just like slept. That's all you did. You did something that was supposed to help you recover, It was detrimental to your well-being. But anyways, long story short, yeah, I had my neck lock up and was pretty useless yesterday. Couldn't do a whole lot of anything. I did get a bunch of editing done, which is why you guys will have a video today. But all of the adulting stuff that I did, including like driving, was very difficult because you have to have your head on a swivel. So today, thankfully, I've been feeling better. A little better. I've gotten probably 90% movement back, but it's still a little on the painful side. Welcome in, Iris. Iris says that's happened to me before too. Yeah, I think it's probably happened to just about everybody. I think if you sleep one position and you don't move, but oh man, it sucks. And I'm no stranger to pain. I mean, IRL, I've had a bullet through my leg. I've crashed my motorcycles. You know, I've lost 20% of my skin due to road rash. And then, of course, being a mechanic, you know, I've never been a stranger to pain. But man, that, I guess because it's so close to your brain, it's extra sensitive, if you will. Can you guys stop dropping stuff everywhere? Yeah, it's definitely no fun. And very, very painful. But like I said, it's starting to feel better, so I can get a bunch of my IRL stuff done. Welcome in, Blue Fire Froggy. Alien says glad is better today. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Grumpy says welcome to getting older. Yeah, you know, I just turned 33 on the 24th of June last week, and I feel 83. No offense to anybody that's in chat that's 83 years old, but yeah, if I had to guess what 83 feels like, yeah, you know. But I mean, to be fair, I've put my body through hell throughout the 33 years of life. My body's definitely on a quick pathway to wearing out, but that is what it is. You just make the best of it. Jason says getting old sucks, 48. Yes, well, one thing that I have always said is growing old is a privilege denied to many. And I think that's something that everybody should hold at their core roots and values, because it definitely is something that is denied to so many people. And, you know, I'm a firm believer you got to make the best of every situation, regardless how bad it is. Gigi says, I'm a year older than you. Are we talking mentally, Gigi? Because mentally, you're about 20 years younger. Darks. I don't know if that's supposed to be Dark Sapphire HK or Dark Safer, but Dark Sapphire, create a efficient blast chamber. Well, this is just about as efficient as I need it to be, unless you're talking about on a tutorial. I can definitely do that on a tutorial. I think that this is probably pretty close to as efficient as you're going to be able to get it, with dropping one piece of TNT. I mean, you might be able to squeeze a little bit more efficiency out if you do more kind of vertical columns, but yeah, I think this works really well. Works really well. We get I think a couple stacks per TNT blast of most materials, so works very well. Grumpy says I'm older than the rest of you. Yeah, isn't that where the grumpy comes from? He's gonna be like Clint Eastwood yelling, "Get off my lawn!" We have an axe here, but what I was talking with the ski resort, it's probably best that I don't push a tunnel through there. I do think that I'm going to be doing like a tunnel through this one though, if I don't completely remove it altogether. Welcome in, Sunflower. Glad that you're here. Good to see you. But I'm thinking, I know, scary, very, very scary. I'm thinking that I'm going to be doing And GG, if anything that I do over here interferes with what you're wanting to do, please let me know. I'm thinking I'm going to do a path. Maybe even going like this way. I don't know if I'm going to be doing terraforming. But I might, let me jump in the free cam real quick. And probably going to have to, yeah, bump speed up. Let's do speed 8. Dark Sapphire says you should make a automatic tree farm, such as a blast chamber, and add bone meal farm to that also. Are you talking about making one that is pretty much like an azalea tree farm? You could make that. They're just, they're not very, they're efficient, but they're not fast. I mean, the azalea is nice because you can keep it going and it's completely self-sustainable. Yeah, I've had quite a few requests for that, but I think it's kind of a niche thing. I think that there's several people that want it, but I don't think that that's something that like the average survival Minecraft player is really going to be building much, if that makes sense. But I'll definitely keep that in mind. I know that like Silent Whisper has a couple of those, and a few others. They're definitely out there. So if we go this way, and then let me just bump up the speed 10 real quick. If we go this way, and Gigi's already kind of got a bridge going that way. You know, if I did a, like, went straight this way, and instead of hooking around that way, I could just bridge across here, and then follow this around. Of course, I'm going to run out of render distance because I'm in free cam. Okay, let's go into, spectator real quick. So a lot of people ask why we have spectator and free cam, and that's the exact reason why they both have their benefits. Free cam is amazing for doing farm diag because you can be at the AFK location at the farm and you can have the free cam way down there and check out areas where mobs are actively spawning without influencing their spawning, and actually see what's happening and use it to kind of diagnose issues with the farm. Whereas if you did that with spectator, whenever you go into spectator, everything despawns, and plus it keeps mobs from spawning as well. So it's oh, I don't know if they fixed that. It may keep mobs from spawning as well, because it still kind of counts as like a player still there, if that makes sense. So I might just bring this to the side a little and then go straight up. And then I hate how slow spectator is. So slow. Free cam does initially disable because it's a behavior pack, and anytime that you add a behavior pack is going to disable achievements. There are ways that you can get the achievements back. Yeah, I mean, if I ran the path all the way around here, but most all seasoned Minecraft players don't care about achievements because most of the achievements have already been done. It's not like Java Edition to where you can have the I'm trying to think what they call them. Yeah, and they come down here. I think that'll be perfect if that's okay with you, GG. Just running it along like this riverbank here. But yeah, if it was like Java Edition where you could like get them every world, I think that it'd be a lot cooler. But since it's linked to the Microsoft account and you can only get them once per Microsoft account per achievement, I think that it really takes a lot away from it. I think it could be a lot better than what it is. Bamboo is too easy. Yeah, I don't really find bamboo to be very efficient at all. in order to make bamboo actual, like a legible option, you have to have such a huge quantity of it. At that point, I think that you're much better off going with something, especially now that we have the crafter. I think you're much better off with going with like a kelp farm, and then you can just auto cube it. So now there's no longer a manual aspect of it. You can auto cube it and send it directly into like a smelter, or utilize it however else you need to, which will be coming to the city soon, because I have the unbreakable flying machine farms, and both of those are going to be built. And if you build both of those right, you only need one control module for them, because they both typically use the same control module underneath it for the flying machines to work. So I'll just have the kelp on the bottom, and then the other flying machine farms for the multi-farm above that, and then pack that inside of a building as well. However, that's probably going to be a shorter building than these. What do I think? Which version got better in 1.21? Minecraft, Java, or Bedrock? Well, I mean, both of them got better, essentially, because they both independently gained some stuff, including bugs as well. But I mean, that comes with any update that you get pushed, really. However, Bedrock's code base is a lot more capable than what Bedrock's is. And, well, capable is probably not so much the correct word for it, as much as their code base is a lot more developed. So it's a lot easier to implement stuff into Java Edition than it is to implement stuff into Bedrock Edition. FreeCam, the perfect example here. Whenever I was programming FreeCam and putting this add-on together, you have to use jumping and crouching in order to go backwards and forwards. Well, you don't have to. I could make it to where you can click an item to go forwards, click another item to go backwards. But the point that I'm making is I can't control the FreeCam without taking inputs from the player. So I'm taking the player's head direction in order to control where the camera entity is. That way I can swivel it and rotate it as the player's head. And then I'm telling that entity to move forward whenever I jump and move backwards whenever I crouch. In Java Edition, I could just go into the bidirectional controls. That way, whenever I move sideways, I could move the camera sideways. Then, whenever I jump, I could have it go up, for example. Whenever I crouch, I could have it go straight down, for example. Because their code base is a lot more developed. So I would have access to stuff inside of the API, whereas I don't have access to that stuff in the Bedrock code base. Hopefully in the future I will, and that's what I'm really hoping for FreeCam, because that would make it to where it's pretty much a spitting image of the Java Edition FreeCam. But until they release those and give us access to those in the API, I'm not unfortunately going to be able to do that. So I think the more and more that the Bedrock code base gets developed, you'll be able to see a lot more of the parity, if you will, with them being developed. But the part that bothers me the most with parity is every update is pushing us further and further away from parity, and we're almost chasing our tail, because with parity we should only be releasing stuff that is a mirror image of what Java is getting. If we keep on releasing stuff with different values between the two versions, we're never going to catch up with the other version. And I know that the goal isn't to entirely catch up, but they want the versions to be very close, although they're never going to be the same, because one's written in Java and one's written in C. I think what was it, Alien? C, I think I said C# before. I think it's C++ that it's written in, but it's a variation of the C language. So they're two totally different languages, and that's due to most consoles, phones, computers, and stuff. They're not made to run the Java. They're made to run the C languages. Yes, C++. Thank you, Alien. I'm going to cause confusion calling it a mod. Oh, I mean, if that causes confusion, then it's more on the person that's confused than it is on me. And I don't mean that to be a mean thing. I understand that Java is called mods, but in my mind, it's a mod. It modifies the game. So yeah, probably the proper name for it would be like a behavior pack, but I mean, it isn't it really called the same thing on Java Edition with behavior packs and resource packs. I don't know. 6 one way, half a dozen another, I guess. It's both. You should make a tutorial faster because we are waiting for you. Yeah, well, yeah. Also have to understand that, you know, I have several thousand subscribers and even more than that in viewers, and you're just one of those, and I do greatly appreciate your viewership, and if you are a subscriber, I appreciate that as well. But there's many like you that are waiting for everything. Like, there's some people that's waiting for a villager farm, there's other people that's waiting for you know, a tree farm. There's others that are waiting for a blast chamber. I mean, every farm on Bedrock Edition, there's a different group of people that's waiting for it. And as the content creator, I have to kind of put my needs first and my channel's needs first in order to figure out what I'm going to build next. But yeah, I would love to go and design kind of a niche farm. It'd be really fun to make certain farms, and there's a lot of farms that I want to make that I don't make because I know that that farm's not going to perform well on the channel, if that makes sense. And at the other flip side of the coin, there's a lot of farms that I normally wouldn't make that I know is going to perform well on the channel, so those are kind of the ones that I prioritize first. But I definitely do go by the community feedback as well. Bedrock farm is a lot more expensive. It really depends on the farm. His real name is Redstone Man. Yes. Why? Well, I just kind of told you why. It's it comes down to what's best for the channel, really, and what's best for the community. I just try to weigh every option and come to a conclusion to what's going to be the best decision. And Lord knows I don't always make the best decisions, but I do always try to. Nailed it. Why is this tree so funky looking? Better not have a TNT minecart in it. Okay, good. Why was that floating? Alright, let me see if I missed anything in chat before I start chopping some trees down. Sometimes I think Bedrock sucks sometimes. Well, I mean, that's completely up to you, as far as you are free to choose whatever version of the game that you want to pay for, buy, and play. And that's the beautiful thing with Bedrock. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we could complain about in Bedrock Edition that we don't have, but there's a lot of stuff that we have here that Java Edition doesn't have. I mean, look at Trident Killers, for example. You know, that's one of the few things that we have that Java Edition doesn't have, and yeah, we definitely lose a lot of the time on parity, but I'll probably answer one last question from you, and then because I don't want to get distracted and not get anything done in stream. Favorite Bedrock has more FPS. Yeah, Bedrock is definitely a lot more efficiently ran. But, I mean, that kind of adds to some negative impacts as well. I mean, for example, you have efficiency things that help with it running faster, yeah, but then you have, like, for example, up there, that bamboo. You go far enough away, and it's almost rendered as an entity. Whereas, I'm gonna fall off the cliff trying to show you guys this. Hold on. Technical difficulties. go far enough away and that bamboo's going to under render. Same thing with like the seagrass and the grass and everything else. So whenever you're, can you unrender already? There we go. So yeah, whenever it goes out of simulation distance, it's going to unrender. Which definitely helps for efficiency, but it does not really help with, you know, the sightliness of it, because it's really, really bothersome, especially to builders. I know that's something that really bothers Grumpy as well, and he's definitely a builder. Dark Sapphire asked, what is my favorite thoughts about Minecraft? My favorite thoughts about Minecraft, and I'll answer this question to the best of my ability because that is an extremely vague question. Minecraft is a game that's pulled me into it many, many years ago, back around 2010, because of the sandbox, because I'm able to go here and basically build whatever I want here and express creativity. And I'm gonna have to grab this bed, take this with me. I'm definitely going to need it. Yeah, we'll sleep over here. Yeah, most definitely. Java's a lot more polished, but Java's also had a lot more in development with a lot of things, and that's strictly due to time. You know, Java was released back in 2009 originally, and it's had, you know, a ton of time to really be perfected, and that was Mojang's main focus. So they didn't have to kind of stretch resources over two different versions of the game. They could just predominantly focus 100% on Java Edition. So that led to a lot of stuff. But another thing that's important to remember with Java Edition was there was a lot of stuff on Java Edition that they learned from. There's a lot of stuff that the developers regret, like the F3 screen being part of it. Like, I can almost say with 100% certainty that there will probably never be a vanilla F3 screen on Bedrock Edition, which sucks. You know, I would love to have it. However, the developers have said that they wish that they never had that be put on there because it's been, you know, mainly taken advantage of, and that developers didn't really want a lot of the technical minded people getting that far into the game. That was mainly meant to be a developer tool resource, if I can English today, and wasn't really meant to be as widely used by the community as it is, in my opinion. GG says, my favorite part about Minecraft is the friends that I've made. Yes, I've made some terrific friends over the years with, I mean, a lot of you guys being in chat. You guys are amazing, and definitely keep the motivation going in Minecraft. And one of the things that I wish Minecraft would change is the frequency of the release. And I don't think that that's ever going to happen, because I think that Minecraft does this strategically to continue to bring players not just into the game, but back to the game. But the problem with it is you get a very unpolished update. You know, I think that these updates should be annually, if not biannually, like every 6 months. But that messes with the infrastructure of how Mojang does it, because I don't think that Mojang really has a huge employment of bug testers. I think that they rely predominantly on the community to do most all of their bug testers, and probably have the other bits of the developers do it before they're actually released. But I don't really think that there's a specific employment of bug testers that's all they do, like a lot of the other games. And I'm probably speaking outside of my knowledge base right now. I'm unsure if it's done like by developers. I'm sure that it would be more efficient to hand this down to maybe a lower tier of developers, or maybe specific bug testers, to kind of play the game through, and that way you're not utilizing your developers for this to be able to get the bugs sussed out and fixed before the final release. Good morning, Renee. Welcome in. Yeah, that's something that the devs have spoken about too. Says Elian, sorry. I was reading. Yeah, and I think that it, I don't know. I think that it adds a lot more extra stress than what's really necessary. I think if everything was a lot less rushed, then it would benefit everybody. It would benefit the developers. It would benefit definitely us with getting more refined revisions of the game instead of having things like bugs where you basically go to play and then you lose all your world saves, like what recently happened. Like, bugs like that in the game are completely avoidable and should never happen. And that just really speaks for the company rushing them out. And it almost, you know, with stuff like that happening and no changes being made to their production line, it kind of inadvertently speaks that Mojang's okay with that sacrifice. You know, they're like, well, I'm sorry that you lose your stuff, but this is the way that we do it. And it really is a shame because it gets back to the corporate greed. And maybe there's not a correct solution for it, which is really unfortunate. But, you know, I think it's just them trying to do things the best way that they can to appease not just the corporate side and the marketing side, but also appease the player side as well. Dark says they should do every update about 6 months, but every other update should be quality of life, ease of gameplay, bug fix, rather than cram more broken stuff. Yeah, and that's something that I've spoke on many times. And as you guys know, if y'all have been a long follower of the channel, it's something that really perturbs me. Because with the updates, it's not the perception where you're like, oh, well, yay, there's an update. I'm so excited for this update. Most seasoned players, especially developers that are actively developing mods and add-ons and stuff like that on both sides, are more like, oh no, there's an update. Like, they view an update as a bad thing because they're like, I'm going to have to fix so much stuff. I'm going to have to break so much stuff. And if they did it, in my opinion, properly, they could put off the updates further, especially with these big changes, and they can give these add-on creators and the developers that are actually doing the legwork for the marketplace and the independent developers, they would be able to give them a lot better resources. And I know a lot of people don't realize, like with programming on really anything, you have to have resources. I can't just write a piece of code and have it work. I have to know what things are called inside of the code base of the game in order to access those certain things. And in order for me to know what those are called, that has to be done by documentation. So a lot of it, we have a couple websites that are basically updated by the community that are really in the know with the devs, or they have the devs update it. Any which way, this stuff is constantly updated. That way we know if a crafting table is called crafting table inside of the game, and they change it from lowercase crafting table to uppercase crafting table, that just broke every pack that uses a crafting table. Because now it's, the code sees an uppercase different than a lowercase. So that's going to completely break everything. If we don't have a heads up for that, and we don't make those changes and have it ready for that update to be dropped, whenever that update drops, everything's broken. And now it's like, well, we have to wait for the rest of everybody else to get these changes, and then have time out of our personal times to implement these changes. And a lot of them, you have to restructure the pack, restructure how the code works, because you had it set up for working this way and not the new way. So, I mean, there's a lot of it to where you have to go in and kind of rethink how you do it. And in some certain circumstances, you have to rewrite the entire pack. So it's really nice if you're able to have a heads up to go in there and be like, okay, well, they're planning on making these changes on this date. And then you could actually be prepared for once. And that would really come a long way with having a biannual update, an annual update, or even splitting it into like minor and major updates. And I know that they kind of do that already, but the way that they do it, in my opinion, just is not a good system. I feel like it could be done a lot better. I'm sure they have their reasons for it, which I'm very probably naive about. But from my outside opinion looking in, I feel like it could definitely be done differently. Okay, let me catch up on chat, because I see the chat moving. Somebody's going on vacation, and that includes you too, chat. Thank you for being here and supporting ours build. Yes, I greatly appreciate that. And Renee says she agrees. Dark. Alien says they do major updates yearly at the moment, and I think it's enough, to be honest. I gotta go back to my vacation. Love you all and see you next week. All right, GG. I hope that you enjoy your vacation, is what I'm trying to spit out. And take however much time that you need. Don't worry about us. We'll be just fine. And just make sure that your main objective is to enjoy it. Don't be like me, to where you're like, oh, I can't get away from real life. Like, it's okay to shut your brain off every now and again. That's just kind of how modding on any game works, though. As far as what part, I kind of covered a bunch of different bases, really. Yeah, well, I mean, there is definitely some parts of it to where you don't want certain things to be accessed for ill intent, especially before the update's polished. So, I mean, there's definitely a happy medium to be found there. All right, sorry, I had to mute for a second. Go away, I'm just trying to sleep. Nope. Wait. Okay, let me take my bed. And I'm gonna need some more rockets. As far as that goes, Alien, most games are not community. Of course, you're going to have the final phase of the bug fixes, but most games are not done by having the community fix the bugs. They will basically have everything bug tested and get the most perfected version of that game as they can. And then once they have their final draft, which is pretty much damn near squeaky clean, then they'll have the community, okay, if you happen to run into any bugs, you shouldn't, but if you happen to, then you'll be able to report that bug and get it fixed. But I don't really, and again, I might be speaking out of my knowledge base here, I don't really think that Mojang has a ton of resources pushed to really getting the bugs done. I think that it's probably 90+% relied upon from the community, which I think is a way of getting by. I think that it's a way of cutting funds from the corporate side of things. I don't really agree with it. I agree the final draft, yes, listening to the community, and I think that is wonderful. I don't think that it should almost solely be based on the community for all of these bugs and stuff. If that was the case, we wouldn't have these issues to where you end up losing a bunch of your worlds because you downloaded a version that you trusted Mojang to have at least semi-polished, and you just lost everything. I mean, if that happened on the actual Minecraft instead of happening on the beta, that would have been detrimental. I mean, that would have meant like some people like Dark that has had a solo world for, correct me if I'm wrong, Dark, but I think 4 or 5 years now, maybe even longer. I mean, some people's had the world since the launch of Minecraft. Not so much on Bedrock Edition, but when Bedrock came out, I'm sure even back to when did Bedrock come out? I think 2014. Back then, I mean, if you lost a world from then, I mean, that'd be enough to make me stop altogether. I wouldn't even want to play Minecraft anymore. What's the point in putting in to where like you might potentially log on one day and have nothing left? I mean, that's a lot of people are building with the intent of like, this world's going to be amazing whenever I get done with it. But if you don't have the world when you get done with it, I mean, that's why they're losing these long-term players, is because the bugs. You know, I think like Dark was recommending, I think that they need to take every so often and do like, we are not adding anything, which probably won't happen because it's you know, not going to draw anybody into the game. But I would take a bug fix update over any kind of introductory update for new things in the game. Like, I would pick that 10 times over than have just an update that's, oh yeah, we're just going to add more stuff, because it's almost like the ratio is they fix one bug and create two more, and it's like they end up making it to where they can't adequately fix the bugs because they're implementing more bugs. It's like the drag slab, let me see if I can pronounce it, drag slab bug, where it's like you drag the slab across, but then it's like, well, now we have to revise that change that we made because fixing this has broken a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's just part of working with the older architecture and having it to where it's continuously increasing over the years, but I don't know. Again, it might just be me looking at it through naive eyes, because I'm not part of the development team, or even know that much about development to begin with, but I feel like there's got to be a better way of doing it. Almost every other game does it better. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of notes that could be taken from other development games and utilized in Minecraft. Yeah, I know. Drag what? Yeah, well, whatever it sounded like, I meant to say drag slabs. That's kind of a tongue twister if you say it real fast, especially with me whenever I can't talk to begin with. Dark says it is indeed 5 years old. I'm always worried about it. I lost a 3-year-old world previously and it was devastating to lose so much. Yeah, I can only imagine. Another thing that really bothers me, from my opinion, is I think that, and this is something that I've discussed with multiple people, including Elian and a few other people, it really bothers me that Mojang can't make up their mind between realism and Minecraft. I mean, the fireflies, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit trail because you guys know how I feel about fireflies. But to not introduce something to the game because it doesn't mesh in real life. Again, we have floating blocks. Like, why do we even have an in real life basis that is weighing our opinions as to what should be inside of the game? I think that Minecraft needs more ambiance. Like, if you look at some of these mods, like the one that Echo Soldier just went over, had comments on it, had the auras, like the what do you call it, out in the Northern Lights out in Alaska and around, fireflies added into it, like the atmosphere had birds, like just the atmosphere that would add so much life to the game and really bring it back to life, in my opinion. Like, we shouldn't be basing, oh well, yeah, we can't add fireflies because if a frog eats a firefly in real life, it gets poisoned. Well, if I put a log up in the air in real life, but it doesn't sit there and float, so which way is it? Like, choose one way or another. And in my opinion, Mojang's already chosen that a long time ago. They've gone more the fantasy route, to where like not everything has to be real life. So in my opinion, it should be taken out of the factoring process whether or not we should bring this into the game or not, because we're in a game that's not real life. I'm carrying around 64 blocks of wood that are 3 feet by 3 feet because they're a meter cubed. Okay, so get yourself a calculator and figure out what a meter block that's 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot weighs of wood, and then figure out the math on all this and figure out how much weight I'm carrying around, or obsidian, which is going to weigh even more, or diamond, or anything else. Like, there's so many tangents that you can go down and rabbit trails you can go down with this. Like, the game's not anywhere close to being realistic. Now, I do agree that we should keep the Minecraft feel to it, very much so. Absolutely. There's certain things that should not be added into the game, but I think that them using realism to determine whether or not something is or should not be in the game, I just think that it wasn't the best decision, in my opinion. But anyways, I'm going to do a little less ranting and a little more digging, because I'm not going to get anything done on stream if not. I think that I had... No, maybe I didn't. Maybe I drank... I think I drank my second cup of coffee, so I have to cut myself off. Oh yeah, most definitely, Ellie. No, and I agree. And like I said, it could very well be me looking through it with naive eyes. Because I'm sure there's a lot of reasoning that goes behind their decisions that a lot of the community doesn't know about. Which is okay, especially on the corporate side of things. Having it go from kind of Mojang to Microsoft, I'm sure influenced a lot more of like the corporate making decisions, with Mojang being a smaller game studio beforehand. From my understanding, Microsoft doesn't influence Minecraft a ton, but I'm sure there's still some hands in the cookie jar. Blue Fire Froggy says, I don't see frogs eating magma cubes in real life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they literally contradict themselves when they take something that is not in real life and they make the frog eat it instead. Like, I'm pretty sure if you ate a magma cube in real life, you'd probably get poisoned. These sort of discussions really make me want to have a podcast and have different guests on each week to talk about. Yeah, I would definitely be down to do a podcast. If that's something that you ever started up, I would totally be down to do that. So, I mean, I have a lot of opinions, but you guys got to understand, with me ranting, is merely my opinion. And if you guys, again, by all means, love having you guys here, but, like, I understand how, like, society is now and stuff like that. There's a lot of things, like, and I think politics are one of the perfect examples of it. If you don't agree with somebody else's opinion, then you automatically don't like them. And we really have to retrain our brain with stuff like that. Because if you have that mindset, let me cue you in on something. I'm going to lose that bed. Let me go grab that. There is going to be something that you don't like about every single person that you know. So if you have that mindset, you're going to find yourself alone with no friends and nobody. And the reason being is everybody has different opinions. That's why we're all different. You know, we don't all want to be the same. Could you imagine if there was more of one of me running around? That would be horrible. I mean, this world already has to put up with one of me. That's enough. Especially if you ask my wife, she would 110% agree. But the thing is, like, you have to be open to other people's opinion. Well, you don't have to be. You can do whatever you want. But you should be open to anybody else's opinion. And, like, I believe knowledge is power. So if you are limiting yourself because you don't want to hear what somebody else has to say, then you're shutting yourself down from learning something that could benefit you in the long run. Then, yeah, I might not agree with everything that somebody has to say, But I think that it's definitely worth hearing, you know, other people out. That way you could potentially become smarter and less naive and, you know, learn something. And I think inside of this course of life, everybody really could benefit learning more. You know, somebody that thinks that they have learned enough has stopped evolving in the world and has really cut themselves short. Whenever it comes to real life, the more you know, the better you're going to be. Now, I mean, that does have some positives and negatives, because they say from studies that they have done that the more intelligent that somebody is and the smarter that somebody is, they will typically become less happy. And I think that's shown with, like, you look into like evolution and stuff with like having monkeys and stuff, and you know, they're just happy. They're, you know, sticking a stick in their ear trying to get a bug out of it, and they're just happy as a bee in honey. But they don't know any better. You know, happiness isn't really altered by how much they know, but I don't know. I think that knowing a lot more stuff could influence it in like a long run. Like, for example, knowing that you're going to die versus like living without the even possibility of knowing that you're one time or eventually going to die. I'd be like, oh man, that's a bummer. I just want to live forever. But I don't know. You could go many different ways with it. Welcome in, Jason. Yeah, good lord, Built, frightening thought. Oh, Grumpy said the P word. What are your thoughts on the Minecraft Marketplace? I think that the Minecraft Marketplace is a really good addition to it. I think that Minecraft does a really good, or let me rephrase that. Minecraft does a really good job as to not pushing the marketplace. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do push it. But people also have to understand that with the marketplace, that's how they mainly fund the game. You can't sell a game and then expect that people buying new copies is going to keep this thing running for, you know, 15 years, which is what Minecraft just celebrated. Because you get to a point to where copies of the game are slowing down and the devs still need to be paid, and devs make, you know, a pretty decent amount. Okay, I'll touch base on that in a minute. But you know, these are things where we are basically buying stuff to support these new updates coming. You know, if you think about it, if you never buy something from the marketplace and you bought this game 15 years ago and you've been playing it for whatever it cost 15 years ago, I think it was like 20-30 bucks. Like, you've been playing it for free this entire time after that initial investment, you know, depending on how you feel, if you've paid that off or not. But there's going to come a time to where you're like, okay, well, I've got my money's worth out of this game. I really enjoy it. This game's equating to happiness, and that was well worth the $20-30, whatever it was going to cost at the time. But that doesn't support you playing the game for an additional 10 years after you've initially paid it off. So the marketplace really helps with that, and helps make profit with Microsoft and profit with Mojang. That way they can do other things as well. So yeah, I totally support the marketplace. I have thought about actually becoming a marketplace creator, because I would really get into like doing map creations and stuff. That would be a ton of fun. Plus you could get paid to do it, which, I mean, just a no-brainer. But the nice thing about the marketplace is it's there. That's an option. Like, you don't have to go and buy anything. You know, if you don't want to buy anything, then don't buy anything. But it's also there for an option with developers. Like, if I wanted to develop something on Minecraft and make money off of it, you know, I can, of course, do something like the free cam that I developed. You can download that for free, and then if you guys want to, you know, click the link, buy me a coffee or whatever on the website, or join Patreon to support development process, stuff like that. That's really nice, but it's not mandatory. Whereas like the marketplace is more like, okay, well, I worked really hard on this and I think I should get something out of it. And at that point you can put it on marketplace and, okay, well, I'm going to set this for $1. So now every person that buys it, I can't remember what the marketplace split is, but say it's, you know, you get 40-50 cents on every dollar or whatever. Then now, you know, if you get 1,000 people to buy it, now you're making $500 to help basically motivate you and push you into developing more stuff. So I think that is really, really good. And again, like if people don't agree with the marketplace, it's not pushed. It's not mandatory. You don't have to go and spend your money there. Lord knows there's so much stuff that require money nowadays. And a lot of people just don't have the funds to dump into a game. You know, when people struggling to survive and put groceries on the table and stuff, especially if you have a family, like, I'm telling you that, you know, from my personal experiences, I'm sure each and every one of you guys are dealing with the same exact thing. But it's nice to have the option, you know, just like it's nice to have the option with like donating. Like if you're like, hey, I really enjoy this streamer, or I really enjoy this YouTuber, or this pack maker, you know, I feel like he or she has given value to my life and like given me a good bit of enjoyment, like drop a donation or whatever. And this is by no means any kind of you know, asking for anything, because I would never, but it's just one of those things. It's optional. It's nice to have that option there. You know, if that option wasn't there, I could guarantee you that you'd probably have streamers and YouTubers probably cut by 30, 40, 50, 60%. In my opinion, it's really hard to put a number on that. But I mean, the thing is that with the stuff that we do on Minecraft, it's we are doing what we love and we are doing what we enjoy by all means, but there gets to be a point to where you have to be able to justify the amount of time that you're spending doing something. So like a lot of the things that you don't know behind the scenes, like a lot of viewers just get the finished product, so they get a video, but the video might be 20 minutes long. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the content creators invested, you know, 20, 30, 40 hours in that. Same thing with the add-on pack. You get an add-on pack, you're like, hey, I really like this add-on pack. You download it, 2 seconds later you got it. It's instant, it's perfect, it's amazing. But they don't realize the hours and hours and hours that have gone in to scratching your head, trying to figure out why this isn't working, what structure of code would be better than others to use. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. Same thing with even the content creators on the server here. Like just the amount of time that some of these, if not all of these content creators use to go into a creative world and like build something that they're truly happy with, that they're open to putting in front of a crowd of thousands of people. I mean, that's not something that you just throw together. Well, I mean, it is for me, because I just throw it together, and if you guys want to watch, cool. If not, well, I mean, there's plenty of other channels on YouTube. But you know, there are so many different content creators that put so much pride into their work, and so much love and passion into their work. It's a huge time investment, and I think that that's something that a lot of viewers don't really realize. They just kind of they're living in an instant world, you know, and it's not really their fault. You know, it's kind of just the way that society's gotten. You know, everything's so instantaneous anymore. Okay, let me stop flapping my gums and catch up on chat real quick. I've reached a point where I have to scroll, so give me 1 second. Could you imagine a world with 2 prowls and 2 artist builds? Oh yeah, well we already touched base on the artist build. And yeah, we're just gonna leave the prowl one alone. Hey! Get out of here. What you get. Trying to read here. Already have enough trouble sounding out all this wording with without you coming over here and catching me on fire. Jason, yes, I agree 100%. You could disagree with your opinion, but respect you as a person. A long lost skill. I agree 110%. Yeah, and touching base back on what I was talking about, like, we have to retrain our brains to where, like, just because you disagree with somebody does not mean that you have to be their enemy. Like I said, if you know somebody good enough and you dig deep enough, you're going to find something that you don't agree with about them. And if you don't agree with them, and that means that you don't like them anymore, then you're going to lose that person as a friend. And if you can't find something about somebody that you don't agree with, or if you can't find something about somebody that you don't disagree with, you shouldn't be their friend, because they're lying to you, because everybody is different. That's, again, my opinion on it. Take it or leave it. But it's the way that it is, you know. Everybody is different. And oh, let me let Dark know that I'm streaming. And I think that's why it's vital to reprogram your brain to be open to different thoughts and opinions. And again, as I stated, open yourself up to it, because you can learn a lot. Like, there's so many different things to where I'm like, well, I'll tell you something, and I'll be like, well, I'm not 100% sure if I'm remembering this right, so let me make sure, and I'll look it up. I try to only reproduce or speak about valid facts. Of course, nobody's perfect, and sometimes I'll misremember or something, and then I'll go back, and I typically try to be as good as I can about, you know, correcting myself and saying that I'm wrong, which is another thing that's very difficult for a lot of people in today's society to do, is say, hey, I was actually wrong about something. I'm actually not a perfect human being, and that's something that a lot of people really have struggled with. And that's something I've struggled with, growing up especially, and try to be a lot more humble as an adult. We also had a couple others there. Let's see. Don't get me started, Grumpy. Strand Lad, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. First and foremost, welcome into the stream. I don't believe seeing you in here before. And he says, bro, I have to juggle between 2 streams. What are you doing 2 streams on? Are you talking about double streaming? Because if you're double streaming, you should probably find an extension to where you only have 1 stream. Like, as far as like using an extension to multi-stream rather than just trying to like do it between 2 different resources. But I mean, that makes everything come into your feed centrally. Your local farm boy says, I personally think that they should remove the marketplace from Windows Edition. Again, going back, me voicing my opinion on that, it's basically how they keep the game going. So I think if they were to remove that from Windows Edition, I think that would severely hinder the updates and everything else, because that would drastically remove funding from what Mojang has to work with. The Yelling Doctor says, at your local farm boy, and then I doubt that they would make enough money to pay for the developers to actually make the game. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I just said, but yeah, I'm glad that multiple people have come to that conclusion. You don't have to buy the stuff from the marketplace. You don't have to be for the updates either. Yeah, I mean, that's, again, going back to the thing about it being beautiful, that you don't have to do anything. It's all by choice. So it's, as I always say, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, which is kind of what I say. Again, if you've been a long time viewer here, you guys know I'm pro Second Amendment. I'd carry a firearm everywhere I go. Same exact thing. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It's kind of like having a fire extinguisher. You pray to God that you never have to use it, but if you do have to use it, it's there if you need it. And I'm not willing to let my house burn down because I don't want to have a fire extinguisher in my house. It's just kind of nonsense in my opinion. But that's a whole nother topic and probably one that I should veer away from on stream. But let's keep on reading. We got Iris who said, I purchased the game new several times over by this point. Yes, I agree. I have, I don't even know. I have 8 or 9 accounts. 8 or 9 different accounts between AFK accounts and testing accounts and yeah, just a variety of them, buying them on consoles. I originally started on Java Edition, and I guess that one I was really perturbed because I lost that one whenever they migrated over, because that account never had, because it was so early, it never had a email address or anything associated with it, so I was never able to migrate that over. So I think I pretty much lost that one, which was a real bummer. But then having the Java accounts, multiple Java accounts, which is where my roots from, and then I went over to Console Edition, which was, dare I say, a much better Bedrock version. And then after Console Edition, once Bedrock Edition come out, I moved over to Bedrock Edition. So there's been a lot of accounts in the process, needless to say. This is going to be wide enough, is the thing. Man, I don't want to have to chop down another one of these big oak trees. Is it me, or are there a lot more of these than there ever used to be? Alien says, me too, but I doubt they'd let either of us in. Super strict application process. Yeah. Long-term goal with UFO Studios is probably Minecraft Marketplace, though. Yeah. From my understanding, they have the applications closed at the time, but hopefully they'll be opening them back up. I thought about applying and just doing like, because I want to do like escape rooms and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I have a lot of ideas with it, especially growing up playing like Zelda and stuff. Yeah, implement some of the stuff like that. Be really cool. Something that you really have to stretch your brain on. I have free cam. Does it disable achievements? Yes, like Alien mentioned, it does disable the achievements, just like any other resource pack. No, not resource pack. Behavior pack. The behavior packs. Any behavior pack that you download is going to. Welcome in, John the Goat. Good to see you. You can download the free cam mod on my website, which is rsbuilt.net, and then just go on over to the add-ons. You'll be able to find a drop-down menu, and then it should be under the behavior packs. Grumpy says, but how much money and time do other people devote to hobbies and sports? Yeah, I mean, you really have to prioritize to whatever you want to do. Again, it's your life. You choose what you want to do. If you don't want to devote the time to Minecraft, then again, it's optional, just like Marketplace or anything else. It's nobody's pushing your hand. You know, do whatever makes you happy. That is the end goal, in my opinion. Find happiness in life. Find fulfillment. Find something that you truly enjoy, and the best Minecraft, then it's awesome. Spend your time doing Minecraft. If it's sitting there watching paint dry, watch that paint dry like nobody else can. The wonderful thing with life, do as you want, how you want, when you want. At least most of the time. Whenever you're not at work. I mean, the work aspect sucks, but I left my bed somewhere, didn't I? I feel like I need to craft a chest to put all this wood into. Okay, so we should be able to do crafting table, and that'll be 1 chest, 2 chests. Crafting. Oh, I already had a crafting table on me. Great job, Built. You are a great Minecraft player. You know, here. Whoa, that was laggy. Who wants to bet I'm about to get blown up? Where's that bed at? Really need to make it a point to carry this thing around. Go away, spider. Oh, thank you, Dark. Let me... What can I throw away that I don't need? I will finish catching up on chat here shortly, guys. Sorry. No, I want to keep that out, so I definitely need that. Let me do a quick flight despawn. I can actually stack the rockets. Does this have... It does have wood in it. Okay, now hopefully there shouldn't be any creepers around here. That was answered. I don't know how bigger streamers and bigger content creators keep up with chat, honestly. It's honestly so cheap to support a creator on YouTube, Twitch, Patreon. It may only be a few dollars, but to the creator who's paying for the server and encouraging them to keep entertaining us. Yeah, I mean that, and it allows us to do more for you guys. Myself personally, one of the things that I vowed to do whenever I started doing this was I wanted this to be self-sufficient. I did not want to invest my own money into this. So basically what I get is what everybody else will get. So the Patreon server, which I'm trying to get some more viewers over there, or more people over there. But the more funds that I get for stuff like that, the more that I can afford to do for you guys. And that could be, you know, going down the line for like merch and add-ons and devoting more time, because again, like, I can't justify sitting at this computer for, you know, 4, 5, 6, 8 hours a day when it's costing me money. You know, this time that I could be out doing something else to make money. And, you know, if I'm spending, you know, 8 hours a day at a computer not making any money, that's a real shortcoming to my family and really not allowing me to do the job that I'm supposed to be doing for my family. So that's a bad decision, is what that is, putting that bed next to the chest and put the bed over here. But yeah, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it, just like anything. Again, everything is optional as far as mine goes. I mean, aside from like the Patreon server. But that's, you know, some of the benefits that you get. Early release videos, stuff like that. And which I'm always open to having additional benefits, that if there's some type of perk that y'all would like to see as a member basis and a Patreon basis. I did also enable membership on the channel, so that is a new thing that you can sign up for. Again, no pressure, but it is there. It's better to have it and not need it. Well, that's probably a bad phrase for that. But yeah, it's there if you want it, but no pressure. Is essentially what I'm trying to spit out. But yeah, that allows me to do more for you guys. It's basically what I'm trying to get to with a lot less jibber jabber. We got snow peas. I feel like that was just an insult to him. Snow peas in, or snow beans in. Let me catch up. Okay. Because I'm getting way behind. Yeah, as far as that podcast, Alien, you should definitely do that. I would definitely be on there. Do like an hour-long rant about Minecraft. I'm sure there's so many other content creators. Because at the same time, all of these content creators, have their own opinions, but most of them want that opinion to be, you know, heard by the community too. Because I mean, that's how you ultimately get change. Entertaining. Let me skim through all this. I feel like I'm a good example of this right now. I spent almost all day designing a frog-like farm, says Alien, for what will probably be a 20-minute video, of which that part will take up like 3 minutes. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's a lot that goes on behind the scenes of content creators that a lot of the viewers don't really know or understand. And that's where you also have in a bunch of issues, which especially with running an SMP, we deal with this quite frequently, where you have a lot of people think that they want to be a content creator until they realize what being a content creator is and how much work is involved there, and then they quickly change their mind. So that's why we've started more taking people that are more of a more established channel. That way we know that that person understands what being a content creator is about. That way they're not just going to come onto the server, make a video, and then we never see them again. And typically, if you have seen that in the past on Project Bedrock, like Season 1, we had a bunch of it. Some of Season 2, we've had some of it. That's essentially what happens. Iris says, hearing the other's perspective is one of my favorite things. Yes, I agree. I love to learn everybody's different perspective. Because again, that's the potential to learn something. Jason says, instant gratification leads to very impulsive people. Just take my... I don't know what you were going to say. I'm assuming just take my word for it would be Jason. Renee says, thank you for keeping us humble. I don't know how you larger content creators do this. I need Ellie and Reed in chat is what I need. Renee says, I made a mistake last week, but I deeply regret and apologize for. But yeah, that's, again, nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. And a lot of that really has to come down to like communication, being on the same page, stuff like that, because a mistake might not be identified as the mistake at the time if you don't know that, you know, if you don't know something about, you know, what a person's thoughts are and stuff like that. Oh, they're talking about watching my stream and another at the same time. Okay, I gotcha. Welcome in, Snowbeans. I'm sorry that it took so long to get to your good morning. Good morning. I hope that you're doing well, my friend. Let's see. Grumpy morning beans. I'm going to apologize here and kind of skip down through a bunch of it. So if you guys see that I'm missing something and you wanted me to reply to it, just reply or post it back inside the chat. Irish says, I'm so happy that my random stacks of crafting tables now have a purpose because of the crafter. Yeah, right? Alien says, after having 65 plus viewers on Twitch for TB stream weekend, me too. Chat moves quickly. Yeah. Yeah, I get why some of these streamers just like, unless they have slow mode on, it's just like a scroll constantly. Snow peas. I'm sorry. I feel like I just offended you. I did not mean to call you a pea. You are a bean, man. A bean. Iris beans. Hello, Sunflower. No worries, RS. Okay, I think we're caught up. Now we can actually start playing Minecraft again. I'm impressed you're able to remember the conversations from so long ago when reading responses in chat. I can barely remember what the last 2 minutes when streaming. You're reading from like 2 minutes ago. Yeah, my brain works in really weird ways, to be honest. It doesn't work a lot of the time in the ways that I need it to, like reading. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that because I was born pretty much deaf and I had to have ear surgery and had ear drains put in, and that kind of set my speech back several years, and I've just never really recovered from it. So I think that even though I try to be well versed in communication, I still struggle with a lot of it as well. So I mean, that might even be more of like a speech impediment, if you will. But I think you know, a lot of it I try to use as a, I try to use the shortcoming as a, something to benefit from. You know, I try to learn more unorthodox words and come across smarter than I am. But no, I just more or less enjoy learning. I think this one's gonna have to go too. I think the limiting factor is yourself, and again, we all get put in bad situations, but it's up to you whether or not you want to stay in that bad situation. And even if you do remain in that bad situation, it doesn't mean that you cannot always make it better. Over here cracking up. So what kind of bean are you? Are you more of like a lima bean or more of like a black? No, that'd be a pea, black-eyed pea. Baked bean. I hope that you're not a baked bean. Yeah, I can see you cracking up. Oh, sorry that I dropped out of your stream the other day. I had to get off of my phone pretty quick, Beans. So sorry if I forgot to say bye or wasn't able to say bye. Gotta get back to work. I have a good rest of the stream. Alright, buddy, I appreciate it. It was good to see you. Sunflower says, this is why I have a chat reader. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would have to try it before I could knock it, to be honest. And if you have a link for that, Sunflower, I would be more than happy to give that a try. But I don't know if I could focus and multitask.